Welcome back, everyone, to AI Takeover. Today we're going deep on something kind of sneaky.
Oh, sneaky.
Yeah, sneaky. But we all use it every day, and it's using us right back.
I am intrigued. Lay it on me.
We're talking about how AI is working in the background of like every app we use.
Oh, so AI, that's like pulling the strings, but we don't even see the puppet master.
Exactly. And we've got two great new posts over at criticallycurious.com that really get into this.
Oh, criticallycurious.com. Love that site. Always some good stuff there.
Yeah, so we've got PixelPia. They're kind of breaking down like the big picture of AI's influence, and then Sven is bringing the laughs as always.
Oh, Sven, I can always count on him to make me think and chuckle at the same time.
Right, so ready to dive in.
Lead the way.
Okay, so let's start with something we can all relate to, social media.
Oh, yeah, the ultimate time suck.
Right, but have you ever had that moment where you're scrolling and you're like, whoa, this algorithm like knows me?
All the time. It's kind of freaky, actually. Like, how does it know I'm suddenly craving, like, vintage sci-fi movie posters?
Right, and PixelPia's post really breaks down how it's happening. Like, AI is actually studying us every comment, even how long we watch a video.
So it's building, like, a digital profile of our brains, basically.
Yeah, and Sen compares it to like having a personal shopper who just gets you, but instead of clothes, it's feeding you content.
Oh, I like that analogy. A personal shopper for your mind.
Yeah, but instead of clothes, it's an endless feed of whatever will keep us scrolling.
Which honestly is a little terrifying when you think about
Right,
it.
it's not just recommending stuff, it's like shaping our whole online experience, and we're barely aware of it.
And that can lead to some pretty trippy stuff. Like PixelPia brings up filter bubbles.
Filter bubbles.
Yeah, so it's like the AI gets so good at showing us what we like that we end up in these echo chambers. You know, we only see information that confirms what we already believe.
Oh, right, so we're missing out on other viewpoints and perspectives.
Exactly. And Sven, as always, has a hilarious personal story about this. He got stuck in like a 45-minute loop of raccoon videos on TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was supposed to be researching for his article, but the AI knew he couldn't resist those adorable trash pandas.
Oh, man. That's so Sven. But it also makes a point, you know, the AI, it's not just trying to be helpful, it's trying to keep us engaged, even if it's with something totally mindless.
And that's where things can get a little dark. You know, like PixelPia also talks about how this focus on engagement can actually lead to the spread of misinformation.
Oh, yeah, like fake news and conspiracy theories.
Exactly. It's like the AI doesn't care if something is true or not. It just cares if it gets clicks and shares.
And that can have some real-world consequences, right? Like PixelPia brings up the 2016 U.S. election and how Facebook's algorithms might have played a role in amplifying divisive content.
Definitely a wake-up call for a lot of people. It showed how AI can be used to manipulate and influence public opinion.
It really makes you think twice about what you see in your feed.
You can't just assume that the algorithm is showing you the full picture.
Yep.
You have to be critical and do your own research.
Okay, so AI is shaping our experience on social media, but its influence goes way beyond that. Let's talk about streaming services like Netflix, Spotify, YouTube.
Oh yeah, the land of binge watching and endless playlists.
Right, and these platforms are masters at keeping us hooked. And guess what? AI is the secret sauce.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
PixelPia explains how these services are tracking everything we do, what we watch when we pause, what we rewind, even which thumbnails we click on.
It's like they're spying on our every move.
In a way they are, but it's all in the name of creating that personalized experience, you know, like those Discover Weekly playlists on Spotify.
Yeah, those are crazy accurate sometimes. It's like they know my music tastes better than I do.
Right, and then there's Netflix with those because you watched recommendations. It's like they're reading your mind.
It's both impressive and a little creepy.
It is. It makes you wonder if we're sacrificing our ability to discover new things by letting the AI curate everything for us.
Oh, that's a good point. Like, are we getting stuck in a rut because the AI is so good at giving us what we already like?
PixelPia actually talks about this. She calls it overfitting. It's like the AI gets so focused on pleasing us with the familiar that it actually limits our exposure to new things.
So we end up in this bubble of our own past preferences.
And Sven, of course, has a funny take on this. He jokes about how Spotify keeps recommending him music from his teenage years. Like, he hasn't evolved musically at all.
Oh, that's so true, though. I feel like I'm constantly getting recommendations for bands I haven't listened to in years.
It's like the AI thinks we're stuck in a time warp.
Maybe we are.
Maybe. But hopefully we can break free and discover something new every once in a while.
Agreed. You got to keep those algorithms on their toes.
Speaking of AI, knowing our tastes a little too well, let's talk about online shopping.
Oh boy, this is where things get really interesting.
Right, Sven jokingly refers to online retailers as digital puppeteers.
Yeah.
Like they're pulling our strings with AI-powered recommendations and targeted ads.
And let's be honest, he's not wrong.
Not at all. PixelPia points out that online shopping is where the line between helpful suggestions and covert manipulation can get really blurry.
Like, is that recommendation actually something I need, or is the AI just trying to get me to spend more money?
Right. And the AI is constantly tracking our every move, our browsing history, our shopping cart additions, even the things we look at but don't buy.
It's like it's saying, hey, remember those shoes you were eyeing? They're still waiting for you.
It can be kind of creepy.
It definitely makes you think twice about what you click on.
It really does.
Yeah.
So how do we navigate this increasingly AI-driven shopping landscape? Are we destined to become slaves to the algorithm?
That's a great question, and one we'll definitely be digging into deeper in our next segment.
Stay tuned, folks. Things are about to get really real.
It's a tough one. We love the convenience, but I also get a little paranoid about being manipulated by these AI.
For sure. And PixelPia goes into some specific tricks that AI uses in online shopping. And some of them are really sneaky. Like she talks about this thing called price personalization.
Price personalization? What's that?
So basically, different shoppers might see different prices for the exact same product.
What, really?
Yeah, it's all based on what the AI thinks you're willing to pay.
So it's like judging me and how much money I have? Is that what you're saying?
It's more like it's analyzing your past purchases, your browsing habits, even your location, to figure out how much you might be willing to spend.
So it's like a silent auction I don't even know I'm in.
Sven calls it the invisible hand of the market.
Yeah.
But instead of being guided by supply and demand, it's all about the algorithm.
So we're all just puppets in this AI's game.
Kinda. Yeah, and then there are those predictive ads. That's where AI goes beyond just reacting to what you've already searched for. It actually tries to predict what you'll want next.
Oh, so it's like getting ahead of me.
Exactly, it's trying to read your mind or at least predict your next craving.
Well, they're not always right. At least, I hope not.
Uh-huh. Right. But PixelPia explains how it works. It's not just looking at your online activity, it's also analyzing your social media interactions and even offline conversations.
Wait, so it's listening to me even when I'm not using my phone?
It's possible. Sven has this funny story about how he was talking to his wife about needing new gardening gloves.
Yeah.
And the next day his Instagram was full of ads for gardening supplies.
So my phone really is listening to me. That's both amazing and super creepy.
Right. It's that line between helpful and invasive. It just gets blurrier and blurrier.
Seriously makes you paranoid to even talk about anything.
I know. Okay, so we've talked about social media and online shopping, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. AI is everywhere, even in apps that we don't even think of as being AI-powered.
Give me some examples then.
Well, PixelPia, she makes this point that AI is becoming the standard in almost every app we use. It makes things feel smarter, more intuitive, but it also brings up a lot of questions about data privacy.
Data privacy, that's a big one.
It is. So think about navigation apps like Google Maps or Waze.
Oh yeah, I use those all the time.
Right, we rely on them to get around, but they're also collecting a ton of data about our every move.
More than just where I'm going.
Yeah, it's not just about avoiding traffic. They're learning our habits, where we drive when we commute, even where we park.
So it's building a map of my life, basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And it can use that data to predict our destinations and even suggest alternate routes.
I mean, that is helpful, but it's also kind of scary, how much information is too much?
That's a good question. Where do we draw the line between helpfulness and just being totally invasive?
It's a tough one.
And it's something PixelPia asks in her article, how much should an app really know about where we're going and what we're doing?
Yeah, that's a valid point, especially when you think about how that data could be used, for things we didn't even agree to.
And then there are virtual assistants like Siri, Alexa, Google Assistant. They're supposed to be our helpful little buddies, but they're also always listening.
Yeah. Sven jokes about how he feels like he's living in a sci-fi movie, where the walls have ears and those ears belong to Amazon or Google.
Uh-huh. Right? It's funny, but it also touches on this very real anxiety we have about constant surveillance.
Especially since there have been all these stories about these devices accidentally recording conversations, even when they're not supposed to be listening.
I know, it's enough to make you paranoid.
Totally. And it raises all these questions about what's happening with all that data, who has access to it, how are they using it? It's kind of a black box.
For sure. And even something as simple as predictive text or autocorrect, that's AI too.
Really? I never thought of that.
Yeah, PixelPia points out that the words and phrases we use even in private messages, it can all be analyzed by AI.
To do what?
To build a profile of, your personality, your interests, even your emotional state.
So it's another layer of data collection that we're not even aware of.
Exactly. So it seems like AI is everywhere, shaping our lives in ways we don't even fully understand. But the big question is this all a good thing?
That is the question. Is AI actually making our lives better, or are we giving up too much in exchange for convenience?
It's complicated. There's no easy answer. PixelPia says that AI itself isn't good or bad. It's just a tool. Like any tool, it can be used for good or for bad.
So it depends on who's using it and for what purpose.
Exactly. And Sven, being Sven, he says, we might as well embrace the absurdity of it all. If we can't beat the algorithms, we might as well have some fun with them.
I like that attitude. So how do we have fun with algorithms? How do we take back some control?
That's a great question, and it's something we'll be exploring in our next segment. So stay tuned, folks. Things are about to get interesting. Okay, so we've talked about how AI is everywhere, but we don't have to just be pawns in its game.
Right, exactly. We can be like those rebellious pieces in a chess game, the ones that move in unexpected ways.
I like that. So how do we confuse the algorithm? How do we throw it off its game?
Well, Sven, he actually gives some pretty practical tips for that in his post.
Okay.
One thing he suggests is deliberately engaging with content that's totally outside of your usual interests.
So if I'm always watching cooking videos, I should start watching documentaries about ancient Rome or something.
Exactly. Just mix it up a bit, see what happens. It might mess with your recommendations for a while, but it also forces the AI to reevaluate its assumptions about you.
So I'm throwing it a curveball.
Exactly. Keep it guessing.
I like it. What else?
He also suggests following accounts on social media that are totally different from your usual taste. If you're all about minimalist design, start liking some posts about maximalist decor, or follow a few accounts dedicated to extreme couponing.
So basically create a digital alter ego to confuse the AI.
Exactly. Make it work for its data.
I love it. It's like a game.
It is kind of a game, and Sven also talks about using vague or nonsensical search terms just to see what the AI comes up with.
Oh, that's fun. I can imagine that leading to some pretty weird results.
He calls it digital daddyism, which is just so, embracing the absurdity of it all.
I love it. So it's not just about resisting AI, it's about finding ways to interact with it in a more creative and playful way.
Exactly, and I think that brings us back to one of PixelPia's main points. The most important skill we have in this AI-driven world is critical thinking,
Right. We can't just accept everything the algorithm shows us at face value.
Exactly. We have to question the information, consider other perspectives, and be aware of the potential biases that are baked into these systems.
We have to be like detectives, always looking for clues and questioning the evidence.
Exactly. And it's also about demanding transparency from the companies that are developing and deploying these technologies. We have a right to know what data they're collecting, how they're using it, and who has access to it.
We have to be informed, and we have to hold these companies accountable.
Absolutely. It's a collective effort. We need to educate ourselves, talk about these issues, and advocate for policies that protect our privacy and ensure that AI is being used ethically and responsibly.
It's not about being afraid of AI. It's about understanding its power and making sure it's used to benefit humanity, not just the bottom line of some corporation.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So I think that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the world of AI.
Time flies when you're having fun with algorithms.
It really does. We hope you found this exploration both informative and maybe a little bit entertaining.
Don't forget to check out the full articles by PixelPia and Sven on criticallycurious.com. You can find links to their work in the show notes.
And remember, the future of AI is not set in stone. It's up to all of us to shape it. So stay curious, stay engaged, and stay critical. Thanks for joining us on AI Takeover.